Hello and welcome. In this e-content video, I'm going to teach you how to write a formal letter. Now, the application is varied today, right? So, in any work culture setup or any hierarchical setup, any person for that matter would be required to write a letter. Maybe your superior or the subordinate or even at an educational level, even as a student, you should be able to write a letter and you will be expected to write a letter for various reasons. Now, the letter writing has taken different shapes. As with the advent of technology, with emails, with WhatsApps, we normally have the tendency to convey certain things informally through messages. Maybe for instant messaging, if we use WhatsApp or instantly informing our head of the department or your course teacher, we use WhatsApp messages or make a call to them. But then writing a letter is always formal. Now, even while writing a letter, there are informal ways, but then we are not going to look at it today. We are only going to look at the formal ways of writing a letter. Now, after I have said this, there are also various layouts which you could use. I mean, when I say layout, I mean the format of writing a letter, right? The physical format, what you could see in front of you, the way you construct the letter is also varied, right? There are many ways in which, but I'm going to stick with the standard format, right? I'm going to stick with the standard format. Though it may be old, this is something which is accepted widely, right? So even when you are writing an email, you could somehow make your, requisition which you're sending to anybody, in a communication, right? Whether it is business communication or executive communication or as a student you are passing on an information, you could make it look like a letter, right? But then only thing is that you will have to first and foremost decide whether it is going to be formal or informal. You're going to send an email to your dad, your relatives, it could be informal, right? But then if you're going to ask for permission, if it is going to be your superior, right, as in the case of our own college, if it is going to be a course teacher, if it is going to be the vice principal, if it is going to be the principal, head of the department, it definitely has to be formal. And I'm going to show you how a formal letter will look like. Now, you could either handwrite it, but then most of us today do not go for a handwritten letter for one reason that it becomes very easy for us to edit or manipulate the text we are typing in front of us, and for that reason I would even recommend you to type a letter instead of writing a letter. But then if you wish especially to write a letter to any of your friend, any of your school teacher, right? A teacher who have taught you in your second standard, third standard. If you feel, very personal towards them, and then you think that only your handwriting would make it very personal, by all means, you could write a formal letter in your own handwriting, which is a great thing to do, right? So we will start with the format right now. Now, the first thing I have opened a Google Doc. It works the same way in the Microsoft Word also. The only thing is that there are little formatting variants, right? There are differences in formatting, and the fonts also, are of different variety in MS Word and in Google Doc. But then today I have chosen to do it in Google Doc so that after I do this, it would be easy for me to send it across to you, right? So the first and foremost thing you should be worried about is the font and the font size you are going to use, right? Now, for any text you type on a word processor like the Google Doc or the MS Word processor, the standard and the default font size is 12 and not 11, right? But Google Doc opens with 11, and even Microsoft Word opens with 11. But then I would recommend that you would leave the font size to 12 instead of 11. Now, Arial, which is the font, is also a very good font. But then you can choose other fonts as well, like Times New Roman, Calibri, etc. Right? Arial, Times New Roman, Calibri, etc. do not go for very aesthetic looking font, right? Just for the sake of the reason that they look nice, right? So look at that, I have selected caveat. Now if I type this, it does look nice, but then this is not exactly a formal letter. Now if you're typing out an invitation, if you're typing out a brochure, in that case you could select a font which captivates the attention, right? But then in a letter, which is a formal letter, you should never do this mistake, right? So better stick on to these three fonts. The first font is you could use either uh, you don't have, okay, maybe you don't have, yeah, you could stick to Times New Roman by all means, right? It's the only formal looking font in Google Docs. And then we do have Georgia. Georgia is good also, right? But I would recommend you to use Times New Roman all the time when you are starting with it. So, what is the reason behind it? Simple. The words you type should be legible, right? A shouldn't look like D, right? V shouldn't look like R. Sometimes that happens with the different kind of fonts you select. If you type caveat, let's type A in capital letter and V in capital letter. That's not much difference. If we do it in small letter, okay, and D, right? So that is a slight problem, right? Let's say there is something on your laptop screen, and then the D might look like, so the A might look like D, things like that. This it might lead to a confusion when you're looking at the whole letter instead of one or two letters, right? So it's going to be a problem. So I would very much recommend you to go for a legible font like Arial or Times New Roman. Now we will go with Times New Roman, right? So we have set the font, we have set the font size, and we can get started. Now, in any letter, you know that obviously, right? You would have did it in your schools, right? You are going to start with the actual format of the letter, which is to start with from, right? Now you type from, you need not follow it up with a semicolon or anything else. Now, from you can type it in capital letters, but then only thing you should worry about is that if you type from in capital letters, you also should type to in capital letters. Now, uniformity is a fact, right? Uniformity is something which has to be verified throughout the text. So you start doing one thing, it should be a continued thing throughout the text, right? It has to be a thing, throughout the letter, right? So you have to remember that. So if I'm going to decide to do that in capital letter, I'm going to leave it in capital letter. Now, from and to should be capital letter, but then the from address that need not be in capital letter. So what is your from address? I'm going to type doctor, okay, and that, comma, assistant professor in English, comma, Loyola College, Autonomous, comma, Chennai, 6 lakh 34, right? Now, in a formal letter, all of this is important, right? So you have typed your from, right? Now, we let us start with the basic layout, right? Now, you know that you have typed your from on the other side, right? Let's say you click on your tab like 7 times, right? So that the cursor goes to the right end, and then you start to type date, right? So now you know that after you did it for 7 times, now you know that it has been set in a perfect position. Now you could type the date, right? Now the Indian format of typing the date is date slash month slash and year, right? So we are going to type it in that manner. Okay. Right. So now it goes to the next line. So what you're going to do is that we're going to hit backspace and then bring it back. Right. So after this is done, we could go to two. Right. Later, I'm going to tell you one important thing about date. You could also do it in two manners. Right. Either you could type your date here or type the date in the bottom, which I'm going to show it to you later. So after you have did from, obviously you know what to do. You have to type in the to address. Right. Now, after you type in the true address, so who am I going to make it to? I'm going to make it to the vice principal for today, right? Vice principal. So you have sent it, you have put the true address to vice principal. Now look at that. After from and when the name starts, I have not let any space. But then between the address and the two, I have given one space, right? So make sure you do that so that your letter looks, different, right? In a unique manner. And also that it's also the formatting problem, right? So if you do not leave any space, it's going to look like one single paragraph. People need to know that. People need to know in a separate manner that this is what is happening, right? So after two, I'm going to give out one another space, right? So now I have something important to do, right? So how do we normally start a formal letter? We always start a formal letter with saying respected, right? Respected, right? So we know that our vice principal here is a sir, so we are going to type it as sir, right? So when we do that, so we have typed a respected sir here. We know for sure that the vice principal of Loyola College is male, and we have typed in sir. But if if you have to address a female superior, right, a female administrator, obviously, you'll have to type in madam. But there might be times when you are writing a formal letter where you do not know, you do not know whether if it is a male administrator or a female administrator, you have a solution. What you could do is you could type in respected sir slash madam, right? That would do. You could always do that. It's not a thing that you are not supposed to do. You could always do that if you do not know who are sending the letter to. In some cases it does happen, right? You may not know who you are sending it to. Only know that you are sending it to a particular administrator, but then you do not know the name of the administrator or do not know who is behind the chair, right? So you type in respected sir, right? Now after typing respected sir in a formal letter, you have something that is to be added for sure. This does not happen in an informal letter, right? But you will have to definitely add this thing in a formal letter, which is called the subject, right? Now, the subject is nothing but the subject of the letter itself, right? Now, why do we need to put a subject? It's for a simple reason that it's a basic understanding, and it is part of the communication. Meaning, an administrator who is going to meet like 100, 200 persons in a day may not be able to go through everything that is written in a letter. Like, sometimes, people giving two-page letters, sometimes, we give one paragraph letters, three paragraph letters, so on and so forth, right? So, as soon as an administrator or a person who's receiving the letter, as soon as he touches the letter, he opens the letter, he should know that what this letter is regarding, right? So, it is always safe and, smart to put in a smart way about about what you're writing a letter, right? Let's say for today, maybe you want to do something like this, right? Requisition, right? Requisition to attend online classes, right? Now, today, this is going to be the way our lecture is going to be, right? Now, before that, you could see that I have pushed the subject, at least, one, two, three, four, five, six spaces away from the letter, which is, letter which is there, which starts with the letter, right? The respected sir, right? I have pushed it at least a tab, which has like seven spaces, which moves seven paces from the left margin, right? Now, why am I doing this? This is an alignment format. which you will have to follow in your letter. Now, the alignment format is the same for all things that is part of your letter, meaning, let's say the from should be very close to the left margin, but then the address has to be pushed little inside, right? Same is the case with to, right? And then the address, right? You push a little bit inside. Now you know that the from address, the to address, and the subject are all in same alignment. This would give your formal letter a better look, right? Now, this is not only for a better look, it is for, and once again, it gives you significance in the communication you are making. Obviously, the letter you're writing is a communication. It's a formal communication you're writing to an administrator, right, or a superior, right? So, as soon as a person or an administrator gets the letter, he knows that, okay, right. So I could see it, in separate margin levels, that the important information, right? Because this from and to is not so important to them, right? Because anybody who's going to write a letter, they know that. It's going to carry the from address first, to address next, and respected sir and subject, right? But then this stands out, right? So that's the word, standing out, right? So it stands out. It is easier for people to make out what the letter is about, right? So subject is requisition to attend online classes. Now you could make the subject in various manners. What are the other subjects you could talk about? Maybe someday you want to do this requisition to obtain transfer certificate, right? Someday you might want to do this, right? So you type requisition to obtain transfer certificate, or to even you may want to write a letter to your HOD, right? Requisition to obtain leave, right? Leave, or medical leave, right? So why are we using the word requisition here? Because of course, if you're writing a letter to your superior, you request, right? Though even if you could think, I don't want to request, but then this is the formal way of writing a letter. See, this is all the words that makes a letter formal, right? You cannot write it like, with our parents. We don't show that we are being polite to them. Of course, we are polite to them, but then we don't show explicitly that we are polite to them. But then with regards to communication like this, right? Letter, this communication, this very very much executive of business communication we are doing right here. It requires that you be a little bit polite, right? So you need to add these words like requisition, right? So only these things that make a letter a formal letter. So we will go back to our other reason we started with, requisition to attend online classes, right? So now we have our subject. You have to do an extra formatting to the subject. You select it and then you click on underline. Now the subject has to be underlined. You should know that, right? Now the next line also should start in the same alignment of the previous sentence, which is the subject, right? So, respected sir, to and from are in very close to the margin. Now, the address, from address, the to address, and subject are all in the same alignment. Likewise, the first sentence of your letter, which is the body of the letter, has to be on in the same alignment as well. So you could see that the cursor is blinking at that certain point. I'm not doing it from here, right? See, I'm not, starting the line directly below R, right? A little space below R, but then I'm starting it from here under subject, right? So I start the line. So how can a body of a letter be, written, right? There are various ways in which you could, use your own language in writing it, but then there are set ways in trying to write a formal letter, right? So now we have to find out the context. The context is that you are requesting to attend online classes. So we could start with saying that I hereby, right? Okay, so the underline format is still on. Let me click it. Okay, so it's gone. I hereby bring into your kind notice that I have been attending in person classes in the first week of college, but I wish to attend online classes from the safety. Okay, you don't have to say safety. Like, and I'm trying to give you a subject and give you a body of a letter, but I wish to attend online classes from the second week, right? So Google Doc does give you some suggestions. You could take them. For instance, like this, right? You could click on them. It is going to give you, right? So, okay, so we are not yet complete on the reason now. I'm going to give you the reason, right? So you have written, I hereby bring into your notice that I have been attending in-person classes in the first week of college, but I wish to continue to attend, right? Maybe I missed a word there. Continue to attend online classes from the second week. Attend classes. Okay, so there might be a syntactic error for that. Attend classes in the online mode from the second week. I request that the permission may be granted. Right. So look at that. You could see that I have used the word maybe. Right. So when you say maybe, it means that the permission may be granted or may not be granted because the control lies on or the decision lies on the voice principal, right? Now you could say should be granted, right? But then it would be like we are ordering the voice principal to give you the permission to attend online classes from now on, right? So even though you would wish to use should be, it's not a formal way of writing the word should, right? Always ask in a very polite manner, right? Especially in a formal letter, ask in a very polite manner. Now, that is how we are going to do it. You could ask, I request that the permission may be granted. Now, you could give your reason, right? Now, you could give your reason saying that, citing the reason that my, okay, citing the reason that the house I have been staying is undergoing renovation and I have to relocate, making it impossible. Let us not say impossible, let us say difficult. Maybe now I'm typing it, you get the idea, right? Difficult to travel to college and back. Right? So now you have it, right? Now you have a Paka uh, format to it, Paka reason to it, right? So look at that, right? I have said, I'm bringing into notice that I have been attending in-person classes. So you have made sure that the facts are there, right? The fact is that you have started attending in-person classes, right? From the college, but then now you want to change into the online mode, right? So you have been coming to college in the first week, but then the second week you don't want to come to college because there is a reason, right? So you have cited that reason properly here, right? Now this is more or less the letter, right? You don't have to add anything to it, right? So we could think about finishing the letter, right? So because we have said everything that is necessary, right? See, we have brought into the notice of the VP, we have also asked for the permission, right? We have asked for the permission, we have given the reason as well. So if you have to end the letter, how can you end it? You can only end it in one manner, saying kindly do the needful. Now, this is something which should be part of any letter, right? This kindly do the needful, right? Like you add from, like you add to, like you add respected sir, like you add date, kindly do the needful is something very important in a letter, which makes it or which gives it a formal tint, right? In a formal, dialogue, right? It makes it very formal, right? So kindly do the needful. And in the next line, you say, thank you, sir, or ma'am, right? Whichever it is. So whatever you use here, you use here also. Thank you, sir, right? And then you give what at least three spaces, right? You type yours sincerely, right? You don't type yours lovingly, right? You don't do that. So if you do that, it does not, it ceases to become, a formal letter, right? You either type yours sincerely or you type yours obediently, right? Now you don't even type yours truthfully, right? Because this is not letter. In an informal letter, you are allowed to use yours lovingly, yours truthfully. Words like these, right? No, yeah. But then in a formal letter, it is better to use these two words, right? But then sometimes, when an HOD writes a letter to his subordinates, let's say my HOD writes a letter to me, right? Because I'm his subordinate, and I'm lesser in rank than a HOD. So, right. So, what they decide to do, they decide to write officially, right? But then this is of no concern to you. As of now, you could use these two words, right? You could write yours sincerely or yours obediently. Now I'm going with yes. The yes should not be in capital. I'm very sorry. I'll change it. Yours sincerely, a comma, and then sign at the bottom, right? But then in a letter, it is always better to type in your name after giving out a space. Let's say below yours sincerely, you give out two spaces for you to sign. And then within square brackets, you always type in your name. It is better because it gives a good look to your letter, right? Prasad, right? Now, you might be wondering, sometimes, people uh, uh, tap it to the right corner, right? Now, this is okay also, right? You could do that as well. This is okay also. If you want to leave the if you want to leave yours sincerely the signing page to the left, it is perfectly okay as well. But then the also the way of doing it is right. You are always be allowed to do this also. You can leave it on the left margin also instead of in the right margin, right? So after doing that, uh, you can do the second thing, right? Which is an optional thing, right? Now look at that. If it is an official letter, I said that you could give the date here. In another way, you also, instead of giving your date here, right? Let's say, you don't wish to give your date here, you could do it here also. But then when you do it here, you type two things here, down here, right? Place and date, right? Which is followed with a colon, not a semicolon, which follows with a colon. So place is wherever you are, right? Chennai, right? And then the date is 6/1/2021. Right? Now, when you print the letter, you will have the space to sign here. You should sign it, right? This is not enough, right? When only where the name is put here, it has been typed, but then it requires your signature. You should definitely put a sign here, right? After you could do that, right? So you could see that how the alignment works, and then when you print it in a paper, you would also see that how pleasing the letter looks, right? Now, you have your grammar check and spell check in Google Docs, which helps you to not make not punctuation errors, but not to make grammatical errors sometimes, right? It is better to use it, but then I would also advise you to learn how to write in a proper grammatical way by yourself instead of using the help of Google Docs or MS Docs, right? In a MS Word, right? So that would help you a bit in trying to learn how to draft a letter. Now, this is very basic, right? Any student, devoid of being a Tamil student or whatever student you are, it is very basic to know how to write a letter in English, right? It's very basic, right? It's very basic stuff. The only thing that matters so much in your letter is the body of the letter. And you need to know how to draft the body of the letter, which would give you a better idea, right? So thank you. I'll see you in another video where I will teach you something else through this e-content. Thank you.